You cannot tell me we don't have enemies in our ranks when it comes to Republicans. Prime example, we're all about making sure to get things done and passed when it comes to the Trump administration. However, you hear the Congress and Senate say, well, the filibuster, yeah, the majority, we have to have 60 vote threshold Senate. All that is just tradition. It's not law. Meaning we could get stuff done if we would just go to a simple majority. And we would win and be able to vote for everything we want to. However, there are certain Republicans that does not want that because it makes them have to vote on issues that they don't want to vote on. I mean, we're going to talk about several Senate that are Republicans who say they support Trump but don't want to get rid of the filibuster because ultimately getting rid of the filibuster actually means they have to do their job. And they don't want to do their job. They want to keep it to where it's in the parameters where they still get all their money and wins, but it looks good to their constituents. And then they get to blame the other side. We're going to discuss today how we should end the filibuster. Now, people say, well, Colby, what about, the dangers? That's dangerous. No, let's talk about it. We'll discuss it today. Secondly, let's talk about Mamdani. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because this is infiltration of America. Second day. First day, he tells the people, the middle class, everybody's got to pay into his project. He's going to give you all this free stuff, but then he said, no, we're actually going to need you to give to it. That was what he said in a transitional video dealing with the mayorship. Second day, he ends up flying to a mosque and pretty much promoting his Muslim faith. And then also he came out and stated this. He said, if we see buildings that are not getting repaired fast enough. Now remember, a lot of times the buildings are not getting repaired fast enough because of regulation with the city, by the way. But he's saying if we see buildings in disrepair, we see people not being able to fix their buildings up, what we're going to do is we're going to take that private business, that private company, and we're going to publicize it. We're going to take it over. He is literally saying he's going to take away private land. He literally said it. You're going to hear the quote today. We're going to discuss it. And then lastly, we're going to talk about, again, the infiltration of our party. Now, IS just came out and stated just what they're doing to Christians all over the world and what they want to do to us. Dearborn, Michigan, wait till you hear the words he spoke about the Christian faith. But guess what? Christian person like Tucker Carlson says, no, Nigeria is not harming Christians. I mean, it's been documented by the Nigerian Christians. See, this is the danger of the Republican Party and Conservative Party. We're being splintered. And instead of us working towards a goal to pass the initiatives, to actually get stuff done in the government, all we know how to do is gripe. And it's actually hurting the Christian movement and the conservative movement. Now, we can take it in our own hands because I have some great stories that are coming up too. But we have to pay attention to who's trying to hurt us more. Is it the left or is it our own people on the right? Let's dive into these stories. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Now, we also have another channel, Life with Colby Mack. I have not been posting on it. I do have a video going out today. Please go over there and watch it because I want you to pay attention to what I say in that video because it deals with a whole lot of our, sustainable living and prepping and farming. But please go check that video out. I know a lot of people don't, get into the farm vlogs, but it really is a good video, and I have some things to say over there. So please go check that channel out sometime today. Now let's jump into the stories of the day. First, let's talk about the filibuster. Trump came out and made a huge announcement and said this. He said, if we got rid of the filibuster, we could actually pass voter ID requirements. We could have no cash bail changed. We can have no men and women's sports. We could have no welfare for illegals. If Republicans would get rid of the filibuster and enact the game-changing policies of the White House, it would shut down the Democrats for 20 years because the policies that they've used to rip off the voters, the gerrymandering, the redistricting, the no voter ID. There was people in New York that was trying to get their voter ID card and their license to the people to check and make sure that's who is supposed to be voting. And they said, no, we don't need to check your ID. So even the people that were voting actually felt a little bit worried and vulnerable that, well, if somebody else tried to vote for me, because again, no one's checking ID to know who, John Smith or Sam Smith or whomever it is. So do you realize if we would do a pass on the filibuster, get rid of it and just do a simple majority vote, We have enough votes of Republicans in the conservative wing of the party to be able to pass the votes in the Senate and Congress. But here's the thing. They don't want that. You know why they don't want the simple majority? Even though Barack Obama threatened this, even though you saw this was used with Harry Reid, you saw this used with Democrats, you saw that the people that stood against it on the Democrat side was Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. They're both gone, the moderate Democrats. So they said if they ever got back in power, they would go to a simple majority anyway. But Republicans are too stupid, and they want to hold to this tradition that is not legally binding. A filibuster law or having a 60 vote threshold is not binding in the Constitution. It's not in there. People like Rand Paul does not want to get rid of the filibuster. So the things that he said he wants to vote to actually cut some of the spending, to actually get voter ID, to actually do good things for Americans, he wants to vote against that because he knows there's no 60 vote threshold. Tom Cotton, who is supposed to be this conservative juggernaut from Arkansas, said we need to keep the filibuster. See, here's their reason. They'll say, well, I mean, the Democrats wouldn't get rid of it. Bull. They said that. Go back in interviews with Barack Obama stating that we should get rid of the filibuster. Go back in interviews with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi talking about simple majorities. We could actually get so many things passed. We have the Supreme Court who tends to lean conservative. We could get so many things passed if we would just allow for the Senate and Congress to quit sitting on their hands and actually do the job that we hired them to do. But they're not. They are not. Why? Why are they not going to do that? Because that means they actually have to vote and do their job. And their job is not to represent you. You think it is, but it's not. It's to represent all those sponsors and all those lobbyists and all those insiders that pay those people off. Tom Cotton does not want to get rid of the filibuster. He believes it's just part of Congress and to keep the order. Now, there's no order to that. There's no order to that. What that says is you have people that are in the Senate Congress that basically just don't really want to do anything. I love what Laura Logan says. It says, how many traitors are within the Republican ranks? We may be out to find out, because if Trump said, let's kill the filibuster, you're going to see who does not vote for that to actually kill the filibuster. Did you know that there's no certain powers to just end the filibuster? It's just John Thune and Mike Johnson saying we're just going to do simple majority, and they do simple majority voting. So is Mike Johnson and John Thune actually supporting President Trump? There's another guy that says, should the GOP just nuke the filibuster and actually get junk done? So you're starting to see people wake up and say, it's time to get stuff done. Do you realize, I've told you this, if Trump does not get his initiatives passed, if he does not get his initiative passed in this year, in the first of next year, nothing will get passed. Republicans will lose the House. He will be impeached again. And not to be kicked out of office, but he will be impeached again from the Congress, and we'll have a lame duck session, and nothing will get done, and we will lose 28. And you'll have a socialist president. It will happen, people, because we are allowing our Senate Congress to waste our money and not do their jobs. Rand Paul does not want to get rid of the filibuster, but voted against actually taking his pay away. What do we do in Kentucky? This guy's supposed to be America First, right? If he's America First, why in the world is he voting for his own money, not for your money, and not actually helping to push through some of the things that Republicans are wanting to push through? See, there's snakes in the ranks, and you better pay attention to it. That leads me to the next story with Tucker Carlson, and then we're going to go right into the story with Mamdani. It's a big deal, but I want you to listen to what was just said by Tucker Carlson, and then we're going to go to what the terror group said that's actually committing this these crimes in these foreign countries in North Africa, literally coming from the terrorist mouth. Okay, so Tucker Carlson comes out and says, there is no persecution of Christians in Nigeria. He attacked Ted Cruz again, carrying and claims saying that Trump administration is exaggerating the issue. Now this is from Tucker. It's a direct quote that he says that they are exacerbating and exaggerating the issue, the Trump administration. Now, he said he supports President Trump. Now, he's not shown that at all lately, but that's what he said. Now, here's the truth. Over 185,000 Christians have been murdered by Islamists in Nigeria since 2009 for his faith. The reason I believe he takes up for these people is because if you see these ties with his partner, if you see these ties with some of these biggest funders and the biggest purveyors of Tucker, you would go back and realize why he is so on fire for some of these Muslim countries and not Christian-based countries. Now, he's declining to say that the truth that Trump is saying, and also the Nigerian government is saying, even though they're not actually, they're trying to downplay it themselves because they're a Muslim country, but you're starting to see other third groups, like third and uninterested party groups, saying these people are getting slaughtered, and we don't want to admit to it. Now, if you don't want to take Christians' word for it, if you don't want to take pastors' words for it, if you don't want to take the people's word for it, let's just take the words from IS. IS admits to genocide of Christians. Dares Trump to intervene. This is from Mario Nafal. He says, IS has openly admitted to carrying out genocide against Christians in Africa, mocks the Trump administration to try to tell them to try to intervene. The terror group calls defending Christians an act of hatred towards Islam and warns its fighters not to underestimate U.S. forces. They said they boast that the U.S. involvement would drag America into endless war, so we're going to keep on persecuting Christians. But Tucker says they're not doing that. But the group that's actually doing it is claiming, saying, yeah, that's what we're doing, and we have a purpose for it. You don't believe me? I want you to listen to two things, and then we're going to go right into this Mamdani story, because it all lays together. All right. Listen to this. This is just crazy. So the mayor of Dearborn, which again is a Muslim, I want you to listen to what he just said. The mayor of Dearborn is giving a press conference in Arabic and even proposed patches on the police like we've talked about before. He says, what you don't realize is why he was speaking. They're not looking to assimilate. He said the crowd and residents start chanting, "Death to America." Now, Dearborn is in Michigan. It's not the Middle East. Why are we allowing this to happen on our grounds? This leads me to Mamdani's story. Mamdani's intern, Arzu Malik, calls for a holy war, jihad, and martyrdom. And now he's the mayor of the biggest city in America. Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Listen to this. This rolls right into just the dangers of what we're dealing with. Just days after winning the New York City mayoral election, Zohran Mamdani flew to Puerto Rico and attended a mosque where the imam called October 7th the silver lining. See, I think they're starting to show you the quiet part out loud because they ultimately know that the right is eating their own and the left can say whatever they want. There was a commentator, a Democrat commentator from mainstream news saying look, the time is over for Democrats and Republicans. It's socialist now. New York is going to prove that socialism is the way for America. Now, do you believe that? Do you believe that? Because we have more foreign-born people voting each and every year, and that's who actually put Zohran Mamdani in power. The guy who's never had a job, who's only been here for less than a decade, is now over the mayorship of the biggest city in America. His intern, his person who works for him, is calling for a holy war. He goes to leaves the U.S. to go to Puerto Rico. Now, you tell me, the mayor of New York City, why is he going to Puerto Rico? To then bless a temple, a mosque over there, and the imam called for death to America, and that October 7th was a good thing. And then in Dearborn, they're not assimilating. This is the fall of our nation. And you have people like Tucker Carlson declining to say that the Islamists are hurting and harming Christians all over the world when the terrorists are telling them what they're doing. No, let's go back to what the guy said. He said, we're going to live in a new socialist era under Mamdani. I want you to just listen to what Mamdani's passing right now. All right, so first, let's go to, again, because we have weak leadership on the Republican side, this is who actually wins. Two things he just came out and said. Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani to implement a mandatory tax on every Bitcoin transaction in New York City. Now, I'm not for Bitcoin, but I thought this was the parallel. I thought this was to get away from the system. I thought this was safe from the government. And now he's saying he's going to tax every Bitcoin transaction in New York City. Well, if you remember, that's kind of where the financial hub is for America. So that's going to be another way that he pays for all these countless programs. But for some reason, we just think that, oh, well, he's just a socialist. We need him in power, huh? Listen to what else he just said. And this is the one that should blow your mind. But again, nobody wants to pay attention to the stories because we're so flippin' worried about Republicans fighting each other. Listen to this. Zohran Mamdani already announcing that he will begin confiscating New York business owners' properties and having government take ownership. Starting day one, we will expand the city's special enforcement programs. The city is going to step in and send the bill to the ones that doesn't work. If they don't pay the bill, the city will take the building. We're putting the worst landlords out of business. Do you get what he's saying here? He's saying, just like I told you, he wants to abolish private land and private ownership of buildings and land all across America. This is an exact quote. He says, we're going to take over the building so it's theirs. Well, now it's ours. It's the cities. So you mean like seize the means of production? Yes. See, what he's saying is, you don't do what we say, we're just going to take it. We're just going to take it. Is that the kind of government that you want to live under? Well, that's the kind of government we're allowing the Democrats to build, and that's the kind of government that Tom Cotton, Rand Paul, and some of these other losers in the Republican Party are pushing for when they're not allowing for Trump's initiatives to get passed. Is this what you want? I want you to listen to this. I thought this was another great point. We're going to end with these two stories. I want you to listen to the numbers, and this should scare you. White Europeans account for between 7 to 14% of the world's population, meaning of all the world, the Western European, meaning like the European Union and most of those areas, along with America and Australia, are considered to 7 to 14% of the world's populations. It's one of the smallest minorities worldwide. However, the only countries that are told that we need to bring in multiculturalism and we need diversity, the Western-led countries that are part of the minority of the world, 7 to 14% of white Europeans. But again, the entire world is built up of groups of individuals that are actually over the population bigger than white Europeans. So why does the West need to be the one to take care of the world? Why is the West and America and the European countries the ones that have to bring in all the impoverished world when we're only 7 to 14% of the world's population? We're actually rooting out our own problem. I mean, we're literally causing the demise of our race and of our population. All because we're being blinded. Now, before we go to our last story that's really good, that talks about the only way to fix it. I mean, prime example. Did you know that Trump is fixing to deport 300,000 Venezuelans? Did you even know that 300,000 Venezuelans were here that we're just paying for, that we're taking care of? See, that's why we can't keep doing what we're doing, because we're importing all these people, and then we wonder what happens to America. We wonder what's happened to Europe. I would love to take my family to France or Italy or parts of Europe. We talked about going to Scandinavian countries just to see the beauty of it. Well, guess what? We're not, because they've allowed for the third world to come in and destroy those countries, all in the name of multiculturalism. And again, remember, we're the minority across the world. Unbelievable. Trump is fixing to deport 300,000. You have Democrats getting upset about it. We can't afford our own bills, and Trump is saying we're going to get rid of these people again. They don't need to be here. They need to go back to their homes. And the Democrats, and even some of the rhinos, are against him sending them back. Now, last story, because this is the only way to fix the problems that we're dealing with. Here's the answer. Thousands rededicate or dedicate their lives to Christ. Hundreds baptized in the University of Cincinnati during a Unite US college event. 2,000 students were connected to local church and ministries, according to the CBN, which is Christian Broadcast Network. Hundreds of students were baptized outside Cincinnati Reds Stadium. What we witnessed at University of Cincinnati tonight is just a glimpse of what heaven could be like, or what revival would be in America. I went to a concert last night, took my kids, and I got emotional because, you see all these thousands of people, just praising God. And I look over and, I have my 6 kids, my wife, and then Annabelle, so basically it's like 7 kids here. And, of course, the 2 little ones, they're so little, they're just kind of sitting there, but all the other ones are sitting there, and they're praising God. And they're you could just see the joy on their face. The only way we fix all these problems is to get God back in homes, to actually represent Jesus and have a reawakening and revival. We don't need America first. We need America's focus on Christ first. And when we focus on Christ first, America will be the city on a hill. But right now, we're not representing none of that. And it broke my heart to look down at all these people, thousands of people yesterday, praising God. And we hear these stories, and they're great. But it comes down to family. We have to fight for them. I have to fight for those 7 kids. I have to fight for their spouses. I pray for their spouses. I pray for their children. Because they're the ones that's got to grow up in a socialist America. We need revival. I hope Cincinnati starts something amazing. I hope last night starts something amazing. I hate to see what happens to TPUSA because I feel like right now they're being just dragged through the mud. I want to see God intervene in our lives and see America back living for Christ. I want to be America first, but I really want to be America Christian first. I want America to go back to its faith and values. That's what we need. Because if not, you're going to be living in with a bunch of Mamnonis over you. And you're going to be living with a bunch of people who are naysayers that's actually going to harm you and not help you. Guys, give me your thoughts on today's video. We appreciate you for watching. God bless.